Jai Hind and very good morning to everyone. The topic of my lecturate is Rohingya crisis. Rohingya is a Muslim minority ethnic group from Myanmar. They are mostly settled in the Rakhine region of the Myanmar. Rakhine region is again important from the perspective of India, because we are building our Sittwe port there. It has the Rohingyas are about 1 million in number in Myanmar, and mostly the 90% of population in Myanmar are Buddhist. The Rohingyas have different notion regarding their existence in Myanmar, and the stand of Myanmar government is totally different. The Rohingya Muslims says that they have been settled in Myanmar since 15th and 16th century in the Arakan kingdom, and even in 18th and 19th century in British era, they have been brought from Bangladesh to settle in Myanmar to work as slaves. Whereas the government of Myanmar totally denies the existence of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, and they says that they doesn't recognize the the Rohingya Muslims as the ethnic group of the Myanmar. There are around 135 ethnic groups that are recognized in Myanmar, and eight of those ethnic groups are having the right to get citizenship in Myanmar. So the condition of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar is that they are stateless, they doesn't have citizenship rights. Moreover, their marriage and their right to movement are subject to the certain restrictions. The problems arises in 2012. Prior to 2012, the majority population of Myanmar, which is Buddhist population, they never accepted Rohingya Muslims as their part of the population. So in 2012, an incident which took place where some of the Rohingya Muslims raped one Buddhist lady gave more strength to the thought process of the Buddhist, and they burnt so many houses of the Rohingya Muslims in the Rakhine area, where almost 280 people died, and afterwards this incident never stopped, and yearly there were seen riots between Buddhist and the Myanmar Rohingya Muslims. And one time the situation became so critical that the Rohingyas thought that their stay in Myanmar is not possible. Some of them resorted to the refugee camps, and some of them went to the people asking them to transport to any of the countries. So in this way, the Myanmar Rohingya Muslims reached to Bangladesh, and from there they reached to India. So if we see the Indian context regarding the Rohingya Muslims, then this is not the first time where India is seeing such an infiltration. We have a history of Bangladeshi Muslims coming to India back from 1960s, 1970s, and we have also seen that how they have changed the demographic condition of Assam, the ethnicity of the Assam, how they have treated the women of Assam, and how badly we have been impacted from their infiltration. So it is said that around 40,000 Rohingya Muslims have come to India, and out of them 40,000 Rohingya Muslims are even registered as refugees in the UN High Commissioner of Refugees. So, which means 14,000 Rohingya Muslims have valid documents, therefore they are considered as refugees, and rest of them which are still considered as the illegal immigrants. If we talk about India's situation regarding the refugee law or the understanding of illegal immigrants, we don't have a particular statute dealing with the same. So we have two major statutes. First is Citizenship Act 1955, and second is Foreigners Act. Reading both the acts together, we can get a understanding of what we mean by illegal immigrant or refugee in India. The Citizenship Act tells us that who is not a foreigner is an Indian citizen. So if we talk about who is a foreigner, we have to see the provisions of Foreigners Act, where a detailed section is describing that who will be a foreigner. For example, a foreigner will be a person who doesn't have a valid passport, or who has not come to India with valid documents. Also, who have overstayed in the territory of India after the expiry of the visa. So now if we talk about whatever is happening with Rohingya Muslims in India, whether it is legally right or wrong, because in India we don't have any particular law dealing with it. So here it becomes necessary to understand whatever the deportation procedure or deportation strategies which are taken against the Rohingya Muslims in India, whether it is correct or not. First of all, India is not signatory to the Refugee Convention of UN and its protocol. Therefore, internationally, India doesn't have any restriction as to the dealing with refugees in the territory of India. Also, as we don't have any law, we have certain SOPs which are forwarded to all state government from the year 2011 regarding to how to deal with the refugees and how to detect them and deport them. Now, Supreme Court, we have to see the relationship between the Bengali Muslim which have infiltrated from the year 1960s till date and the relation of Bengali Muslim with Rohingya Muslims, because so many Burmese scholars and other scholars have documented in their research that the Rohingya Muslims are nowhere distinct from the Bengali Muslims, and they have their traces in the Bengal, and they also belong from the Chittagong area of Bangladesh, and even Britishers in some of their documents recognize the Rohingya Muslim as Chittagongians. So it is not wrong to say that the Rohingya Muslims are basically from Bangladesh. If we talk about what the Indian government is doing, whether it is right or wrong. So first of all, there is no international obligation, but certain principles of international law comes into action when there is a refugee deportation process in any of the country. So there is a principle of non-refoulement which tells that a person who comes from a different country to our country and has a threat of being persecuted in his own country, that then the country in which that person is coming, they cannot send him back. So it is said internationally, and India is being put into pressure that Rohingya Muslims are having threat in Myanmar. Therefore, we should not deport them, and rather we should give them citizenship. So the principle of non-refoulement is misunderstood as per my understanding, because it doesn't mean that if a refugee comes to your state, you don't have to deport them because of the fear of prosecution, but you have to give it citizenship. There are other methods which a country can do for refugees. For example, financial assistance can be given. They can see that the refugee camps are in proper conditions, the sanitary conditions are proper. They can give them legal assistance. It does not mean that they have to give them citizenship of the country. And as we have a history of Bengali Muslims and how they have affected our national security and how they have affected our citizens, now it is high time to take action and to show our stand to the international community that what is our stand regarding the refugees, and when it comes to the sovereignty and secularity of our country, what stand we take. So if we talk about the legal status, then whatever we are doing is actually correct according to the laws which are prevalent in India and the SOPs we have. And also the deportation process, the India is considering that we won't send the Rohingya Muslim back to the Myanmar, we'll send them to the Bangladesh, where they have a very big camp, refugee camp, and we don't and from there only they have come to India. So therefore the fear of prosecution is not there in Bangladesh. Therefore the non-refoulement principle does not even applies to our condition. Secondly, the Rohingya Muslims have made their stand very clear that they somewhere resemble themselves with the tenets what Pakistan have, or the pseudo-Pakistan which is Bangladesh has. So they have always been supporter of the principles which is followed in Pakistan. So therefore, if Indian government is deporting them back on the basis of security of the nation, then there should be no question from the international platforms or other political parties in India that why they are doing so. And there is no concept of that for all 40,000 are terrorists. That is not even the topic of debate. The topic of debate is whether deportation is right or wrong in the eyes of law. And as per my understanding, it is all right. It is totally right in the eyes of law, whether it is international law or the local law of the nation. If we talk about the security of the country, then always the sovereigns, the security of the nation reigns supreme. So whatever the Indian government is doing, they have their basis, and only the protest which is going on is by the political parties who are having their vote banks made from these 40,000 illegal immigrants. Therefore, the argument of the opposition that the humanitarian grounds are not followed and the human right violation is being done of the Rohingya Muslims doesn't stand, because they just want to use them as their vote bank. And moreover, there is a serious threat to the country. Therefore, the government has a very clear stand that we'll deport them back, and we have to keep the security of the nation intact, and therefore there is no violation of human rights of the Rohingya Muslims in the particular case. Thank you.